Husker Sports Network programming begins in 3 minutes. Husker Sports Network programming begins in 2 minutes. And this is our final time check. The network will go silent for the final 1 minute. Husker Sports Network programming begins in 1 minute.
Welcome to Sports Nightly with Jessica Coody. I'm Bill Dolman. It is July 8th, 2021, and here are some of today's sports headlines. Major League Baseball has extended Trevor Bauer's administrative leave for another 7 days. The Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher is under investigation by MLB and the city of Pasadena for claims alleging sexual assault last spring. The first hearing in the case is set for July 23rd. The Dodgers were in action this afternoon and won 6-1 over Miami, who announced today that Don Mattingly will return as manager for the 2022 season. Get your tickets now. Talk of the college football playoff expanding to 12 teams is not going over well at one Power 5 conference school. North Carolina head coach Mack Brown said on a Zoom call that his players were more inclined to expand to 6 to 8 teams. Linebacker Jeremiah Gemmels said that when he and his teammates were asked about 12, no one raised their hand in favor. The proposal is currently under a summer review by committee. NHL, Tampa Bay has won its second straight Stanley Cup with a 1-0 win over Montreal in Game 5 last night. Ross Colton scored what turned out to be the game winner in the second period. NBA, the NBA Finals continue tonight in Phoenix. The Suns hold a 1-0 lead in the best-of-7 series against Milwaukee. Game 2 tips off tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time. Husker news from the track and field world. Brenton Emanuel has been hired to coach sprints and hurdles. He has been the director of track and field at Eastern Illinois. Husker Hoops newcomer Kisei Tominaga has been named to Japan's Olympic 3-on-3 basketball team. The sport will make its debut in the games in July on the 24th. I guess that's a couple of weeks. The USA, a favorite going into trials, did not qualify. A team And along those Olympic lines, Japan, as expected, has put forth a proposal to implement a new national COVID emergency beginning Monday that would extend through August. The main focus will be to close bars and restaurants that serve alcohol, thus toning down the atmosphere surrounding the Olympics. It was also announced that there will be no fans at venues in Tokyo. Events held and contested outside of the city of 37 million may have some fans in attendance, but for the most part, the show is a go. The fans are pretty much a no, and those are some of the sports headlines today.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time.
Little chopper, right back to Schwellenbach, throws to first, in time. Huskers make it 9 in a row as they take game one. A terrific pitching performance on both sides for Nebraska. Povich, Buns, Schwellenbach combine on the shutout. Povich gets the win. Schwellenbach his 8th save, and Nebraska takes game one of this series, a final of 1-0.
Povich was as good as I've ever seen him today. The fastball had life to it. The changeup had a lot of late life to it as well. Looking the same out of the hand. He threw the curveball, the slider, and the cutter. I mean, he threw 5 different pitches today, all for strikes. Very competitive, looked like an ace, and we needed every bit of it today.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Bill Dolman, on the Huskers Radio Network.
It's Sports Nightly, coming to you live on this Thursday evening from inside our brand new studios inside Memorial Stadium alongside Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody. This week is flying by. We've had a lot of fun, and it's time to keep it rolling tonight. We got another big show ahead coming up. Well, in just about 20 minutes or so, we've got Rhonda Revelle, the Hall of Famer, going to be in studio talking all things Nebraska softball. And in hour number 2, the Gatorade Player of the Year, one of the top recruits in the nation, or one of part of the #1 recruiting class in the nation coming in for Nebraska volleyball. Allie Batenhorst going to join us from, actually, she's in Amsterdam.
Yeah, you went all out to get that interview.
Yes,
yeah.
Playing for Team USA, which just announced big news. So, big show once again, Bill. We just keep it rolling.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little running backs too tonight. But
Yes.
I was excited to hear Allie Batenhorst, as every Nebraska volleyball fan will be. But I mean, she had such a great senior season, and I know you guys talked about this. The video of her being named the National Player of the Year, with April Ross, the Olympic medalist, showing up on a Zoom call and telling her that she'd won the national award was great video, and she was very endearing in that moment, and Husker fans are going to love her as well as her fellow incoming freshmen.
Yeah, we had to pre-record that because that was, 4 o'clock here. It was 9:30, and she has a game.
Bed. I mean, come on.
Yeah, is got a match coming up tomorrow, 11:30 our time, 11:30 Central. So, and that will be streamed. I need to find that information. I was going to pump that out for you guys if you wanted to watch that. But she's one of 3 Huskers that have been selected to play on the under-20 World Championship team for Team USA Volleyball. And pretty fitting because there's 3 Huskers on the Olympic team going to Tokyo as well. No college represented like Nebraska when it comes to Team USA Volleyball.
Yeah, we had Mark Manning on earlier in the week talking about the 2 guys that are going over to compete in Serbia in the U23 World Championships. And, he said it's a really big deal for our athletes to represent Team USA. And then they come back to campus. The experience is great, but the notoriety is great. The exposure is great for Nebraska athletics. And as you and I have talked about a couple of times off air, Nebraska is one of the biggest, most notable global entities in the sport of volleyball that there is. And it's, Karch Kilrye comes here many times to call matches. Paul Sunderland, who will call the matches for NBC during the Olympics. They're all well aware of how prominent Nebraska volleyball is in the global volleyball community. It's really amazing. And I'm not sure people in Lincoln really understand how big Nebraska volleyball is outside the state.
It's when we had Lexi Sun on here, a week ago tonight, she was talking about the summer workouts, and their big thing is they want to bring the edge back to Nebraska volleyball. But with the COVID year and the option to return for some of these players, and then you're bringing in the #1 recruiting class in the country, you hear coaches talk about this a lot about, that competition breeds success and iron sharpens iron and all of those. But you got to think there's some battles going on in summer volleyball workouts right now.
Yeah, imagine how competitive those matches would be or will be when fall camp rolls around.
Probably have 2 top 10 teams, could be, like anywhere else in the country going against each other. Like that could be at 2 teams. Equally, that could probably make a run in the NCAA tournament.
You want to make some money? Start selling tickets to Nebraska volleyball practice.
Yes, right.
To go watch it. People would show up for that.
We should do a show live from a scrimmage or something. That would be awesome.
It would be phenomenal. And you're talking about bringing the edge back, and I listened to that interview with Lexi's son, and granted, they're going to bring it because they fell short of their goal last year in Omaha, or last season in Omaha. But if they need any help in bringing that edge back, pretty sure they got 8,000 of their best friends night in and night out that will help them in case they forgot their edge back in the dorm room or something. They will be bringing it as well, because once they take to the floor, and especially those freshmen, I mean, I know that they know what it's kind of like, but until you get into that moment and actually experience it for yourself, as you will find out, it is really nothing like it. And I said this many times, and maybe I said this on the show. I would put the NU Coliseum back in the day on par with Cameron Indoor men's basketball at Duke and Fog Allen Fieldhouse Kansas basketball. People look at me like, you're crazy. And I said, I'm just telling you. And they've been able to replicate that a little bit, I think, at Devaney. It's just not an old barn like the Coliseum was. That had its own charm.
The sellout streak is very, very impressive. And we've talked about this a little bit, but, I was researching some attendance numbers compared to other sports, and the number of fans that go through Nebraska volleyball competes with women's basketball. They would be, I think, in the top 5, but only because there's a limit to how many people can get into Devaney, where most basketball arenas seat 15 to 20,000. So it's impressive, and you hear it over and over again. You're gonna hear it when we talk to Allie. We heard it when we talked to Lexi, and just how big that is to why they wanted to come here, and why Lexi wanted to come back another year, and what kind of drives them. It's kind of like what the 12th man down in College Station. I mean, it is a whole nother teammate that you got on your side.
I wonder how they prepare them for that. Nebraska is, not that this is something that would be very dramatic, but in terms of sports psychology, just preparing.
To come in here?
Yeah. How do you tell them, okay, this is what it's going to be like in your first game? And, oh, by the way, maybe you're starting. It's going to be tough to crack that starting lineup. But nevertheless, how do you prepare those athletes who have never experienced anything like that in their high school careers, no matter what their success has been? And I said this about Lexi's son. She was very smart to come back, not just for the NIL stuff, but she's never going to experience what she experiences with Nebraska volleyball. It's great that she can make some money, but Jordan Larson has done quite well for herself as maybe the best player in the world, certainly for the United States, but you just don't replicate the atmosphere and the experience that you have playing here.
I thought you were talking about opponents trying to prepare to come in. Because, you go out to some football practices and just hear the blaring of crowd noise and music and the fight songs of opposing teams that, you try to help or try to get as much noise to prepare for, but I don't know how you can prepare to come.
Don't you think, okay, let's say you are an opponent. Don't you think that it's better to go into an atmosphere like that than to go where it's just dead and there's nobody there?
Oh, yeah. That's got to fire you up. It's interesting because some athletes prepare to go or prefer to go into hostile environments, where some, would prefer home. So there, depending on how you're kind of wired, you might have the best home atmosphere in the country, but you kind of get fired up a little bit more when you got the crowd against you. It's every athlete's different, but that's at the top of my list that I cannot wait to experience is going over there to Devaney and experience that.
Spencer Swallenbach kind of alluded to that yesterday, going down to Arkansas for the regional. And I know when the bid first came out, people were like, why do we have to go to Arkansas? We should be better than that. And I'm thinking, you know what? Why not go down where you're going to have 12,000, 15,000 people who may or may not like you all that much, but nevertheless, you're going to have an atmosphere that's going to get the adrenaline flowing, and you're going to be into it, and you're going to feel it, as opposed to going to some of those regional sites, which I'm sure you watched on TV, going, there's 3,000 fans there, maybe, and there's just nothing. There's no juice. But to go to Arkansas and play number one, I thought that was great, and he mentioned that was probably one of the highlights of his career.
Well, we love it when you guys get involved, when you call in, you send us those texts. So hit us up on the text line, 402-413-2400, or give us a call at that same number. It's brought to you by Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. So before we take a break and then get Coach Revelle in here, I did want to, you mentioned the college football playoff, and we have not talked about that much in the last week. And with, that news coming out, are you for expanding the playoff?
You knew it was going to happen. So,
yeah.
4 seemed a bit light. 8 seems about right. 12, come on. I mean, that's an extra game, and it's nice to think that some of those schools that may not be in the Power 5, are going to get an opportunity to play. But 3 games to win a national championship, that's just not going to happen. The champion's going to come out of the top 5 or 6, and to expand it to 8 seems to make the most sense, I would think.
You got to do something, because after, again, this year is a wash. We said that about a lot of different scenarios over the last year, but just the way the opt-outs, the not as much care, I guess, and those other bowl games that were not the playoff, you got to figure out a way to combat that a little bit somehow, right? Because if we're going to continue to have, teams not putting out their starting lineup or whatever that might be, or not acting like they don't care because they're not in the playoff, you got to figure out to how those bowl games can be more competitive.
Well, they're talking about eliminating a couple of bowl games, but if you're going to give the top 8, or the top 4, I guess would get a bye. So let's say it's Alabama and Clemson and Ohio State and whoever was the 4th team in last year. Now they're going to get a bye, and you're going to make a Boise State, nice program, or a team like that, you're going to have to go win 3 games to win a national title when they're getting an extra week off. It just doesn't seem like it's a fair playing field anyway. Sure, it's going to generate some money, which now in the era of NIL, maybe the players are going to go, all right, where's our share in this too? Maybe that's a topic for another day.
When I also read with that scenario, those schools that get byes won't get a home game. So like the teams that have to play in that first round get an extra home game if you're the top seed. So you get another chance to get ticket sales, to have, those fan bases, come check you out. But the ones that, get that bye, it just goes to a neutral site after that. So you lose out on getting a home game.
And are all the expenses taken care of? Do you remember a few years ago when UConn went to the Fiesta Bowl? They lost money going to one of the big tier bowl games because they had to pay for their own hotel rooms. They had to pay for a certain number of tickets. They had to pay for their travel. They had to pay for their band. And I think they lost a couple $1 million going to play in arguably the biggest game in their school's history. So the finances will all have to get sorted out before they really figure out whether they're actually going to go to 8 or to 12.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that maybe they might need to pump the brakes on just a little bit before I was surprised that they decided, well, let's start talking about 12 before even thinking about 6 or 8.
Right. Well, we'll get it figured out.
Well, North Carolina's not going. Right? We know that. They're voted out. We're not going if we get in.
Hey, the Hall of Famer has entered the building. Rhonda Revelle is here, and we got to step aside for a quick break. But if you got any questions for Coach Revelle, hit us up on that line, 402-413-2400. Quick break, and we're back with Coach Revelle here on Sports Nightly.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Shop with confidence at Woodhouse Buick GMC and find your next vehicle. Our knowledgeable sales team is eager to help you find a vehicle. Plus, get you on the road faster with our streamlined sales and buying process that you can start online. New Buick and GMC models with the features you want at a smart price. Visit our indoor showroom or shop online anytime at WoodhouseBuickGMC.com. Experience the difference and shop Woodhouse Buick GMC first.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Still waiting for your stimulus check? Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
Go where the summer leads you during the Season of Discovery sales event at Woodhouse Mazda. With a full lineup of CUVs, we are sure to have one for you. From the 2021 Mazda CX-30 to the family-friendly Mazda CX-9, our sales staff is here to help find the perfect model for you. With a suite of features, you can expect more with Mazda at a price that is good for you. Test drive one today at one of our 2 convenient Woodhouse Mazda locations in Bellevue or Omaha, or shop online today.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. With a combination of strong academics and affordability, UNL offers an excellent educational value. This year, the university was named one of the Princeton Review's best value colleges. And the new Nebraska Promise and Career Scholarship programs are connecting more hardworking Huskers with financial help so they can pursue their dreams.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
Back to Adventures in Technology. Look away! A runaway train of IT problems is bearing down on our brave IT hero. But wait! It's Marco's Technology Assessment to the rescue with life-saving IT strategies. Our hero's technology issues are derailed. A tip of the hat to Marco. And our hero rides into the virtual sunset of our WebEx background. For more successful IT adventures, go to marconet.com.
And we welcome you back to Sports Nightly alongside Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody, and a treat for you on this Thursday evening as Rhonda Revelle is in studio joining us. And I've heard so many great things about you. I got a chance to work with you one time when you guys were playing at Puerto Vallarta in a tournament, and I have to tell this story before we get into the interview, but I was cleaning out my desk at Oklahoma to come here, and I found my notes that I took on your team that year, and yours was the only notes that I took because you were talking about, I think your theme that year was chop wood, carry water. And so I was really inspired by after we had met with you guys on the phone, and the girls that we had talked to were awesome. So I have them actually in my box that I'm waiting to move into my office, and I thought was like how cool, full circle, that I have all these notes from chatting with you 5 years ago.
It must have been a sign that you were going to end up in Lincoln, right?
I know.
And have you read the book? It is a book.
I need to read the book.
It's a great book.
Yeah. Do you have a book for this year?
Well, we're in the decision-making point.
Okay.
We have a couple on that we've read, but we're going to let the players choose.
Well, yeah. Bill Dolman, you were one of the first people that he had mentioned we got to get on while he's here. Because he remembers, he went to school here, remembers you from way back when.
Back in the Husker Show days and the Husker
Right.
Vision days.
Right.
And working in the Sports Information Office as a student. I remember, I think I was in the office maybe when you got hired Just a couple of years ago.
Well, weren't you in the daycare at that time? I mean, this is year 30.
I'm actually thinking I may have seen you play when you were with the Huskers.
You may have.
What happened to Maple Leaf Field? I was looking for that when I got on campus, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
I know that's gone. Okay.
It is gone.
And I know that Bowling Stadium's been around for 20 years now, and you're looking to make some improvements to that place. But nevertheless, you still have great facilities. But it is great to see you, and I thought it would be great to have you, because this is an Olympic year, and softball is making a return to the Olympics after being left out the program inexplicably after 2008, and it's coming back, and you've got Taylor Edwards is on the roster, so we can go in lots of different directions with Wanda Rovell, but I thought it'd be great to come in and talk some softball.
Yeah, thank you. And if you just saw also the College World Series viewership.
I was going to ask you about that.
Right, I know, off the charts. I mean, it's just every year you just keep seeing the ratings just soar. And, I've been saying this for years, way before it was so popular on television. If you come to one game, it won't be your last game.
Right.
And it's just a really exciting game. And I remember back when Dave Van Horn was our baseball coach. He was in his first year, and he came over to Maple Leaf to a regional, and we were playing Iowa, and it ended up being a 1-0 game, a nail-biter. And he came into our dugout afterwards. He goes, I couldn't coach this sport. It's too intense. It's too intense. So, but it's a lot of fun, and I just think being back in the Olympics, the college game has created so much momentum, but an Olympic year, there's nothing like an Olympic year.
That's what I kind of thought was, given how big it was in Oklahoma City this year especially, and there was some bad publicity around it, which, any publicity is good publicity. Yeah, it brought a lot of attention to softball. The place was packed. The softball was great. There were some compelling stories out of it. And then to follow that up with the Olympics on the world stage, I mean, this seems like a really grand time for your sport.
Yeah, it's like strike when the iron is hot. But here's the thing. I don't know that it's going to cool off. I think it's going to stay hot. And that's the really exciting point. And to your point, there were some great storylines. And some of the storylines were, things to enhance opportunities and things for women and female athletes in particular. But then there were also great storylines like a mid-major, finishing fourth in the country, and an Odyssey Alexander who became really, just the media darling, and just the envy of so many and the inspiration of so many.
Do you become a fan when you're watching that and you saw her story? And I know that Patty down in Oklahoma and all those other coaches. I mean, but can you take yourself away from your job and just be a softball fan and appreciate where your sport is right now?
100%. Yeah. A super fan. In fact, if you go back on my Twitter during the World Series, I was being a fan.
You're a great follow on Twitter.
Well,
inspirational. You got quotes coming. If you don't follow Coach Rovell, you need to follow her on Twitter.
Well, thank you.
We'll help your NIL brand, too. Get your social media out there.
When we were being trained for that, Blake was like, well, Coach Rovell, if you're a student athlete, because you have so many followers, but I don't know. It's great.
So you're back on the recruiting road, and again, we have lots of questions we want to talk to you, but one of the most recent is you're able to get back out on the road and get recruiting, and you guys have kind of been all over the place. How's it feel to actually be able to get back out there and start meeting with these kids in person again?
It has been great. It's been a whirlwind. I think that between families, prospects that haven't been in front of coaches, college coaches, club coaches, tournament event planners, I think we're trying to almost cram 2 summers into one. I don't know that anybody could keep up the pace, but there is a point that we need to do some of this summer. I will tell you, when I got back into town on Sunday, I look back, and since June 9th, I had only slept in my own bed 2 nights.
Wow.
Right, and it was all recruiting, and the same with Lori Sipple and Diane Miller. In fact, they're back out on the road already again.
I get a kick out of Diane Miller. She's been on your staff, 13, 14 years now? Is she still the kid? Because you're going into your 30th year, and Lori's been around 35 of the last 36 years around Nebraska softball.
Lori's going into her 33rd year. We're going into our 30th year together, and I really like to tell this story because I think it's pretty unique to any sport. But between both Lori and I playing at Nebraska and coaching at Nebraska, that she and I have been a part of 90% of all NCAA played games in the sport of softball at the University of Nebraska.
Wow.
I know. That kind of makes us
That's
ancient.
a great stat. You mentioned the NIL and that, Blake Lawrence would talk about your social media, but for women's sports in particular, and college softball is so popular right now and continues to grow, but if you look at some of the women's sports and not a lot of lucrative pro leagues right after you leave college, and sometimes the best time to kind of, strike while the iron is hot is while you're a collegiate athlete. How beneficial can it be for women's athletes in particular, this new name, image, and likeness legislation?
Well, I don't think we really know yet, but it seems like just right out of the gate, there's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of momentum building already. So I'm really very anxious to see, what's happening right now, and then look at it 6 months down the road and a year down the road. And, even just having lunch with some of our players this week, they're sitting around talking about it. And I'm like, what is this? And what is that? And how do you actually make money? I'm learning too. It's like, it's going to be constant education, but I've had business owners say, we're really excited about this in our community. So, you know what? Let's go.
I have never seen a roster on a website that is not just name, year, where you're from. The Nebraska softball website roster, you have one that is social media roster.
Right.
I've never seen that before. I mean, they're ready to go. They're coming to practice with money belts. So, like, where do I sign, right?
Well, they do wear belts, so they might as well be money belts.
Right. Yeah, but it's pretty impressive, but the opportunities ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. It's obviously going to, we're going to have to adjust and adapt to it, but it's still such an opportunity, especially, as you point out, for female athletes, because we haven't had a lot of opportunity in the past.
Well, that's a lot of the, coverage over the last week has been that it's been the women's athletes, the female college players that have really made a big mark on this thing so far, because, again, it is so popular. A lot of these sports are so popular in college, and it just, for some reason, falls off, after college. But there's a lot of popularity with some of these women's athletes that have been able to capitalize over it in the last week.
And you know what? Maybe even this will help catapult, being able to play beyond college, because there will be more interest, and then sponsors and people will think that, they'll invest more in the pro game for various sports.
I've always felt like, you need to give the equal platform, and that's what kind of helps as well, because it's just, just making sure that the marketing and the coverage and all of that is equal, then it will help grow the game as well, and not just softball, but every women's sport. It's, you look at some of the coverage is not as equal once you leave college.
Right. And I think there's a really powerful and empowered group of young female athletes. I always talk to our players about every generation has to move a certain amount of dirt, right? And, I think about Barbara Hibner, who was my greatest mentor and just a stalwart for Title IX. And yet, if she were moving that same dirt today that she moved 40 years ago, we wouldn't feel like we were very far along, but somebody had to move that dirt.
Right.
And then my generation, and then the next generation, and on we go. So I think one of the big callings for this generation of female athlete is exactly what you're speaking of, is helping promote and get an equal platform and equal opportunity, and it's time.
What has it been that has moved the sport to where it is right now? We're talking about it being hot with the exposure with the Women's College World Series recently. But from where in 1982, I think you played in the first Women's College World Series. Things have changed since then. But it seems as though there has been almost a spike in recent years to where the sport has gone up exponentially. What was that? Who moved that dirt to get it from here to here?
That's a great question, and I can only speak to my experience and some of the conversations I've had throughout the years. I think it's a couple of things. Number one, as we spoke of earlier, if you watch one softball game, you're going to watch two. You just have to get out and watch. Number two, one of the things that we've heard from the folks like at ESPN, and I'll talk about that in a minute, is that the softball coaches in general, as a body, as a community, has been more than willing to be accommodating, to join together and say, hey, what do we need to do, and be very collaborative. There aren't turf wars. There's a real unity in trying to move the sport as a whole. And I think that in some ways, I didn't think that was unique because I've only been in one sport, but I hear that maybe that is a little bit unique. And then, you know, it always takes somebody to champion, right? Or some people to champion. And ESPN has done a really nice job, but Meg Aronowitz at ESPN has really been the driver behind this, and many others too. But when I think of Meg, and I've seen her in the room at our Coaches Association meetings, you know, she was a Division III softball player. It's her passion. She does a great job for all women's sports, but yet as a little girl, that was the sport she played.
Yeah.
And it's fun, and I feel like that's a part of it too, is that it's like the softball, when you're playing a softball game and you're watching a softball game, it's like the players have permission to express their joy and how much they love playing the game that you don't see in a lot of other sports either.
Right. And, you know, it's interesting when I even talk to people that played multiple sports, one of the things that they really enjoy and miss about softball once they're done playing is exactly what you're speaking of, is that team camaraderie. Because the game, you know, the game doesn't run on a clock. So you still have moments that you can express, that you can connect even with the audience, that it just plays out differently with an audience. So I remember our fans when we built Bowling Stadium, and it has been 20 years ago, the way, you know, we intentionally designed it kind of like you're down in a bowl. And some of our season ticket holders would say, Rhonda, I can tell the color of the eyes of the pitcher. That's how connected they felt to watching the game. And so I think it's just, you know, and I think about Lori Sipple, who pitched, and she said, softball gave me permission. She's very introverted and she's very shy, but she said it gave me permission to show who I really was on the inside, and that passionate player, and I think this sport does that for us.
We've got to take a quick time out, but are you good to stick around for one more segment?
You betcha.
All right, we love chatting with you, so we got a little bit more we want to talk with you about. So keep it here, though. You're listening to Sports Nightly, brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Buckle up and put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. More with Coach Ravel coming up right after this.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
Back to adventures in technology. Oh no! Our IT hero is dangling from a mountain of open IT tickets, ready to plunge into the abyss of overtime. But wait! It's Marco's Managed IT to the rescue with a lifeline of 24/7 network and user support. Our IT hero is saved! A quick selfie with Marco's Managed IT team, and our hero is back to work. For more successful Managed IT adventures, go to marconet.com.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
And welcome back to Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody. We got texts flowing in on our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. Okay, so we want to rattle these off kind of quickly, but one of them was, would there be any changes you'd like to see within the rules that would improve the game? And it's from the Superfan.
Well, the first one is video review, and it's a hot topic. It's been discussed a lot. Obviously, we're doing the College World Series in baseball and not softball. But the good news is, I just read today from the NFCA, which is our Coaches Association, that they are looking seriously at adding that to softball. So I think that would be great.
Is there concerns that it would slow the game down at all? Because it is what it's the speed of it is kind of what makes it so engaging too.
Right. And that was the first concern. But then I think they see how they can execute it in baseball, and they don't really feel like it's slowing the game down.
And then do you see some of the southern schools coming up north in the cold months to play?
It's tough to get them to come north in the cold months. However, in the fall, we can play a little modified schedule. Missouri, I don't know if they're considered southern, but they're coming up this fall to play us.
So big news over the last week. Kiki Stokes hired as a head coach at Upper Iowa University. MJ Knighton a year ago became the youngest coach in Division I softball as their head coach. How proud does that make you to see them kind of achieving these milestones?
You know what? I don't even think words can describe it. I might get emotional here talking about it. And, one of the things that we as a staff have been very committed to is trying to help young women, realize their dreams. And when it happens to be in coaching, that's what we've been doing. So not only do we try to provide opportunities for them to get around the game in a different capacity, and whether that's at camps or clinics. And I know most people have their players work camps or clinics, but we really try to educate in a different way and talk about it from a different light, especially if we know that they want to be coaches. And then in their 5th year, after they've exhausted their eligibility, both of those young women stayed on in their 5th year, and then Kiki stayed on to be our volunteer coach. So we just keep trying to give opportunities for them to cut their teeth in coaching to see if that's really what they want to do. And then we're always on the red phone. I just say we're always on the red phone. I've talked to MJ and Kiki a lot in the last year, and Kiki especially in the last 6 weeks. But so exciting, so exciting.
Do you want to schedule them?
Well, Kiki's in a Division II program, but funny that you mentioned that. We're scheduled to play MJ's team next spring.
Right?
Yes,
Okay.
That's awesome.
yes. And Tori Tyson's at Howard, and she would love to bring the Howard Bison to Lincoln to just experience our atmosphere here. I don't know if they're considered Southern either.
What made you believe, or because you put out a nice tweet about Kiki. Why is she ready? Why is she going to be a successful head coach?
She's ready because she's a student of the game. She's ready because she's well connected. As you know, in any industry, sometimes it's not what you know right in the moment. It's who you know, and then how you can resource yourself when you have deficiencies in an area. Who can I get on the phone and talk with about this and gain some education? And so I think that that's really, really critical, that she's really well connected. She's an unbelievable people person, and I think that's really important in, you know, becoming a head coach, and the ability not only to make relationships with her student athletes, but with the people across campus. You know, there's going to be moments where she's going to go, oh my gosh, what did I just do? But that's why the red phone's there.
The red phone, love that.
What about for your team coming up? 2 years ago was nobody really even considers 2020 anymore. You've come through the 2021 season, 22. What are the prospects for Nebraska looking ahead?
You know what? It's an exciting time right now. We had 8 freshmen last year, and you know, playing a modified conference-only schedule was a little bit challenging because we didn't have any of those preseason tournaments where they can kind of cut their teeth, and we had several of our freshmen getting significant innings, and one, Sid Gray, went down with a ACL tear. She'll be back. When she went down, she was actually our leading hitter. So you just see some real excitement out of that young class. I think with Liv Farrell staying around for a COVID senior year, we saw her really make a jump last year on the mound and do some really great things. And then Courtney Wallace took a giant step too. And in fact, our pitching ERA last year, we had 2 pitchers at the lowest ERA we've had since 2014. So we're trending in the right direction on the mound. We understand that this game is pitching. We also have Kaylin Kinney, who got some nice innings as a freshman last year. And then we have Carly Sievers, of course, on our roster. And then we have a freshman coming in from Southern California that's played a lot of high caliber ball, and her name is Kendall Mangle. So, you know, we feel like we're moving in the right direction on the mound and doing some nice things. And who knows, we might even be able to announce that we're going to have a transfer coming about in the next few days. So, so that would help our lineup significantly.
You know where to come with the news, you know. Just
yeah.
I know.
You're always welcome.
Make sure that happens so Bill and I can talk about that during the show next week.
Okay. You're on my red phone then.
Yes,
okay.
Add me to the red phone line.
You got it.
Does it feel like it's getting back to normal?
Yes.
Finally, you're talking about traveling as much as you were, that kind of that way it's always been for you, that all right, 2022 is finally going to be back to the way we used to do things.
Yes, and even small things like our players are lifting with our strength coach in the weight room again versus this makeshift weight room over at our hitting facility, or they're eating at the training table. You know, that I said I was able to have lunch with them a couple times this week at the training table. I mean, that just felt really normal.
Good.
Couple things I wanted to ask you about too. You know, you mentioned the Women's College World Series, the ratings, and then, you know, potentially some of the changes that might be coming in the game. What about, you know, the scheduling with such huge news and how they had to play a game so late into 1 a.m. and into the night or into the morning? And of course, there's been a lot of talk about the women's basketball weight room. Do you foresee maybe some changes coming, at least for the softball and the Women's College World Series, to maybe spread it out a little bit more?
I do. And, you know, I talk about that next generation that's bringing things forward. And I think they've done a really remarkable job in bringing awareness to inequality in the game, and then just other things about the game. Like, for instance, I don't know if you saw it, but during the College World Series, Florida State was wearing the Whoop Band. Well, our team wore the Whoop Band last year with our NAPL and our sports scientists group, and recovery's real. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that they were able to show recovery from the day that they had to turn right around and play, and then the next time when they had a day recovery, and you saw a lot less people in the red, because you want to be in the green go. And, you know, just things like that, it's like, it makes sense. You talk about the health and welfare of a student athlete. Rest and recovery is real. And, you know, so I think you can't deny science. So I think it did get a lot of people's attention, just that alone.
Can I ask you if you remember the worst game you ever saw?
The worst game?
Yeah. There was one day about 19...
Where are you going with this? I know. He's got something here.
I told you you wouldn't be prepared for this. It was probably sometime, I'm guessing maybe in the late 80s. And you brought your team over to Buck Belzer, and you played a team that was managed by Don Bryant. I played a couple of other student assistants from the Sports Information Office, Lee Barfneck, Jeff Schmall, Mike Babcock, and you were going to have this little exhibition with your softball team over there at Buck Belzer, and your folks could not have made people like me look any worse.
Well,
and
wasn't that when we were challenging?
We
rolled Lori Sipple out on the mound, didn't we?
That
And
wasn't
wasn't
fair.
it called Rip Sip or something?
I don't know what
Nobody
it was,
rip sip.
but we looked really bad, and it was probably the worst exhibition of some type of athletic competition on a diamond ever.
I'm going to invite you to just put a little different lens on that. Instead of you looking bad, how about the women looked really good?
They did, but
there you go.
Right, just shift the lens a little bit.
I appreciate that, but we got smoked, and we looked awful. But I remember standing up there in the mound, and I think Lori did pitch.
I think she did,
and I don't think we saw pitches go by. I mean, they just right past.
Right.
But it was one of the worst exhibitions of athletic competition at Buck Belzer.
I thought it was fun.
I'm sure you did, and I'm sure you've forgotten about it, but I'm glad I could bring that smile back to your face.
Thank
but
you.
we get the team photo still somewhere. But Don Bryant was our manager, and he kept talking about he was George Steinbrenner that day.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
That's good.
Coach Ravel, awesome stuff. Can't wait to have you back on the show. And we appreciate you coming on tonight. And I'm looking forward to big news ahead for hopefully coming for you guys.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed, okay?
All right. Well, quick break from us, and then we'll be back to wrap up hour number 1 here on Sports Nightly.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. On May 7th and 8th, Nebraska celebrated its largest May graduating class in university history. 3,594 degrees were awarded to Nebraska graduates in ceremonies at Pinnacle Bank Arena and Memorial Stadium. Along with receiving their diplomas, graduates also heard inspiring speeches from notable Nebraskans, including legendary coach Tom Osborne.
Shop Woodhouse Chevy Buick in Missouri Valley, Iowa, and experience the Woodhouse difference, where our sales staff is here, ready to help you find your perfect new car, truck, or SUV. And with over 100 new vehicles on our lot with more arriving daily, we're sure to have something for you. From the Buick Encore to our heavy-duty trucks, we have the best selection available. Find new roads and shop all of our inventory and offers at WoodhouseChevy.com or visit us at our dealership for a test drive today, making car buying easier. This is Woodhouse.
Final segment here on hour number 1 of Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody. We got another hour to go. If you want to get in, text or phone call. We had some great questions for Coach Ravel. Hit us up on 402-413-2400, the Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. Oh, my goodness.
Did I come
love
through for you
Coach
there?
Ravel.
I told you she'd be great.
Yep.
Yeah, she's always been one of my favorites.
She's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'm serious. Like, she is a great follow on Twitter.
Is that right?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
should follow. We need to help you get your Twitter.
Yeah.
We should have asked Audie some questions on how you can up your social media
Yeah,
game.
I could go to Open Doors and maybe get some, get some endorsements there. But I am awful at it, I will admit. It takes me a while to come up with 140 characters and figure out the hashtags and the ats and all that.
But Coach Ravel has got it down. What a great conversation about anything and everything. But yeah, you heard her talk about it. The Olympics, softball being back in the Olympics is huge and big for the sport. And I'm excited. It was so popular. It's kind of surprising that it ever was taken away in the first place, because the last time it was in there, what was 2004?
2008 was the last one.
2008, weren't the ratings like off the charts?
Yeah, but they said it's not a global game. The powers that be in the IOC said it's not a global sport. It's back in because Japan, I believe, won the last gold medal in 2008. It is a popular sport in Japan because baseball is popular in Japan. So as the host city, Japan said, well, these are some of the sports that we want in. So karate is in, and skateboarding is in, and some of the other things. But Japan, as the host city, got to have the vote. Instead of it putting out to the IOC, and it was 52-52 to take it off the program back in 2000, whatever it was, 15 or something, I don't remember. But Japan said, no, we want it back in because it's popular there. So hopefully with the momentum, you know, whether the collegiate game transfers to the Globe, I'm not quite sure right now, but hopefully it does get some attention in the coming weeks.
Got time for a quick phone call. Jim is on the line. Jim, thanks for calling in. We got about a couple minutes here to get you in here.
Yeah, just a quick question. Thank you very much. Is it correct that is Coach Ravel still there?
She just left the building.
Okay, well, you guys probably know this. Didn't they take the game of softball out of the Olympics because the United States was winning all the golds all the time?
Because who was winning all the golds?
I didn't hear.
The United States.
Well, the United States had success, and as it was viewed by the IOC and the global community, that's like, you know, which is, I believe, based in Lausanne, Switzerland. So their perspective of the popularity of softball in the United States may be a bit skewed in thinking, well, it's not big here in Switzerland. We don't talk about it much here in Europe, so it must not be that popular of a sport. So they put it up to a vote several years back, and the vote was actually 52-52. And there was an abstention by Jim Easton, who basically manufactures all the bats. So he didn't vote, so it's 52-52, and it was taken off the program. But again, the popularity of the sport in Japan by one vote, by their vote, saying we want it in, that's why it's back. And the hope is that it will generate some popularity in the coming weeks.
So we have to take a quick break. Jim, if you have any more, you can stay on the line. We can get to you after this break. But love talking softball in the Olympics. That's awesome that it's back. So if you want to hang on, we'll get to you right after this break. But we got lots to come here in hour number 2, including a chat with more Team USA volleyball talk. And we're going to talk some running backs with Ryan Held as well. So keep it here on Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Shop Woodhouse Ford first. With 3 convenient locations, we offer a wide selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Our no-pressure sales team is eager to help you find the perfect vehicle. We make it easy to shop, finance, and purchase in person or online at woodhouseford.com. Choose your experience and start your car buying journey today at Woodhouse Ford in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska is one of the best schools in America for student Fulbright scholars. 2021 marks the 4th time that the university has been named a top producing institution by the Fulbright program. Of the 30 Huskers who applied this past year, 10 were offered the prestigious Fulbright. An additional 16 Huskers were named semifinalists.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly, hour number 2 with Jessica Coody. I'm Bill Doman. Again, July 8th, 2021. Here are some of today's sports headlines. Major League Baseball has extended Trevor Bauer's administrative leave for another 7 days. The Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher is under investigation by MLB and the city of Pasadena for claims alleging sexual assault last spring. The first hearing in the case is set for July 23rd. The extension by MLB means he will not be with the Dodgers through the All-Star break. The Dodgers were in action today and beat Miami 6-1. College football, there's some talk about expanding the playoff to 12 teams. It's not going over well at one Power 5 school. North Carolina head coach Mack Brown said on a Zoom call that his players were more inclined to maybe expand to 6 to 8 teams if it were up to them. Linebacker Jeremiah Gemmel said that when he and his teammates were asked about 12, nobody raised their hand. The proposal is currently under a summer review by committee. Tampa Bay has won its second straight Stanley Cup with a 1-0 win over Montreal. That in Game 5 last night. Ross Colton scored what turned out to be the game winner in the second period in the final telecast of the NHL on NBC after 16 years. The NBA Finals continue tonight in Phoenix. The Suns hold a 1-0 lead in the best-of-7 series against Milwaukee. Game 2 tips off tonight at 8 p.m. Central Time. That's 55 minutes from now on ABC. Husker news from the track and field world. Brenton Emanuel has been hired to coach sprints and hurdles. He has been the director of track and field at Eastern Illinois and is a former Ohio Valley Conference Coach of the Year. Husker Hoops newcomer Kisei Tominaga has been named to Japan's Olympic 3-on-3 basketball team. It's a team of 4. The sport will make its debut in the games on July 24th. The United States did not qualify, much to everyone's surprise. And along those Olympic lines, Japan, as expected, has put forth a proposal to implement a new national COVID emergency beginning Monday that would extend through August. The main focus will be to close bars and restaurants that serve alcohol, thus toning down the atmosphere surrounding the Olympics. It was also announced that there will be no fans at venues in Tokyo. Events and competitions contested outside of the city of 37 million may have some fans in attendance, but for the most part, the show is a go, the fans are a no. Those are some of today's headlines.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time.
Little chopper, right back to Schwellenbach, throws to first, in time. Huskers make it 9 in a row as they take game 1. A terrific pitching performance on both sides for Nebraska. Povich, Buns, Schwellenbach combine on the shutout. Povich gets the win. Schwellenbach his 8th save, and Nebraska takes game 1 of this series, a final of 1-0.
Povich was as good as I've ever seen him today. The fastball had life to it. The changeup had a lot of late life to it as well. Looking the same out of the hand. He threw the curveball, the slider, and the cutter. I mean, he threw 5 different pitches today, all for strikes. Very competitive, looked like an ace, and we needed every bit of it today.
Sports Nightly is brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation Highway Safety Office, who reminds you to buckle up and put the phone down. Here are your hosts, Jessica Coody and Bill Dolman on the Huskers Radio Network.
Hour 2 underway here on Sports Nightly. Along with Bill Dolman, I'm Jessica Coody. Make sure you give us a call. Shoot us a text on the Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. Bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. So coming up on the next segment, we are going to talk a little Husker volleyball with Allie Batenhorst, who was one of 3 Huskers that made the under-20 Team USA team, and that gets underway coming up tomorrow morning. And it's exciting for Husker volleyball because they got 3 on that team, 3 on the Olympic volleyball team as well.
I wonder if the team in Amsterdam gets to play in front of fans, whereas the Olympic team over in Japan will be competing in empty venues, very much unlike the Devaney Center, but nobody will be in the stands watching sports in Tokyo. Again, there are some venues, some competitions outside, but those that will be within the city limits of the 37 million people of Tokyo will not be in.
So we had a great conversation with Rhonda Ravel and talked about a lot of different things, but one of them was talking about getting Southern teams to come up north. And Dennis just sent in a text that said, just like baseball, would like to see those the southern schools come up and play in the north where the weather is not the best. To me, they are not true champs until they play out of their comfort area.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's unfortunate, though, in the early part of the season, as Ron mentioned earlier, they didn't get a chance to make their annual trek south. You know, early in the season, typically you'll see those softball teams and baseball teams, but especially softball because you can get so many more games in. They might, leave at the first part of February or mid-February when the season begins and come back with 20 games under their belt because they played, down in Florida or Puerto Vallarta or, wherever the case might be, so they get a little sunshine in February. But, there's always some talk about moving seasons, and changing the calendar in softball and baseball so that you're not starting in February, that maybe you do start in March where you've got a chance to have a little warmer weather here, and there's really no excuse for them to stay down south. They've got to come up here. I agree, but let's see you play when it's a little chilly outside.
Thanks, Dennis, for that. Again, you can text in or call in 402-413-2400. Had one more thought I wanted to talk about with softball. And so you mentioned, Japan, and it's really popular there. And Team Mexico in for the first time as well. And we heard Coach Ravel talking about the popularity of the sport. A lot of players that are familiar names that you heard playing all across the country for college softball are on Team Mexico as well, including Sierra Romero, who was Big Ten Player of the Year, played at Michigan. There's lots of players that played in the States that are going to be playing for Team Mexico. Team Mexico might be pretty good.
Just because it may not be popular in Europe doesn't mean it's not popular in other places around the globe. And I think Australia's always had some pretty big interest in the sport of softball. And as the game becomes more global within the United States, where coaches are going out and recruiting, whether it be Mexico or whether it be in the Far East or in Australia or something, those players are coming in here. They're getting trained, they're playing well, and then they go back and they represent their country when they've got the opportunity. And how much more momentum do you have once you leave the United States in your academic career if you know that you've got an opportunity? There may not be great professional leagues. We know there aren't. But if you got that opportunity to maybe continue your career and play in the Olympics, and build your national program in Australia or in Mexico or in Japan, I mean, I think the opportunity that the Olympics have to grow those games globally makes it very warranted that they're in the Olympics.
And baseball's definitely a world game.
You would think. That was stunning to me that it was taken out of the program, just like softball was.
Yeah.
But you see the popularity of the World Baseball Classic, how popular the game in Australia, in Japan, and they may not be great in Europe, but they still play the game. So
we have not talked about this at all this week, surprisingly, but you're going to be calling some Olympic sports.
I am. Archery all the time. Yeah.
So you're going to hear Bill talking about the Huskers this week, and then in a couple weeks you can tune in and hear his voice calling some archery. You got the perfect call down for. You said it's not a bullseye. You don't call it a bullseye.
Yeah, it's one of the first things I say. What do you say and not say? And they said, don't call it a bullseye. It's like I was ready for that. But yeah, drop it on the spider, hit the X spot, score the 10. Yeah. But archery for the first week, and then modern pentathlon and some race walking are on my docket.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Archery's a lot of fun to call. It's a lot of fun to call.
Potential gold medal winners with archery?
Yeah, for the United States. The #1 archer in the world is a guy by the name of Brady Ellison, and their men's team might get a medal as well. The Koreans are dominant on the women's side, but they also have India has the #1 archer on the women's side. They're just great stories, too, about some of those countries. Archery's not an expensive sport, so you get, some poorer nations that compete in the Olympics, and the stories of limited resources like Moldova, Malawi. I think Malawi has one target in their entire country. One target.
Wow.
And they'll shoot at tobacco stems.
Crazy.
So it's just great the Olympics are really fun when you meet those kinds of athletes.
Okay, so weird transition here, but we're going to keep talking Team USA coming up in the next segment with Allie Batenhorst. But let's, I promised talk to people last night about, we're going to talk a little running backs tonight. We got interviews coming up soon on the Huskers Radio Network podcast with Ryan Held, and we're also going to have Adrian Martinez on as well next week. So wanted to give you a little preview of what you can expect to hear, and I believe we have it ready to roll. Mike?
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. With a combination of strong academics and affordability, UNL offers an excellent educational value. This year, the university was named one of the Princeton Review's best value colleges, and the new Nebraska Promise and Career Scholarship programs are connecting more hardworking Huskers with financial help so they can pursue their dreams.
You guys had some injuries, a little banged up throughout spring. Overall, how's the health of your group right now?
I feel really good. We finished up strong in the spring. The last 2 weeks was really good. But right now, our guys have paid the price in the summer. They've really done well getting their bodies right. And each guy had their own specific goals that we put together for them, and they've really been working hard to achieve that. But there's a lot of question marks out there for us. We're going to have a chip on our shoulder because of, they're hungry and they want to be able to go out and prove, that this is a room that can be a position of strength on the football team. But we have to go earn it. We can talk about it all day, but until we go out and produce, it doesn't really matter. But I know our guys are ready for fall camp here coming up soon, and then getting ready for the season.
Yeah, with so many weapons and talent, how do they separate themselves? Is it now in the summer? Is it more so in the fall? I mean, how do you kind of maybe start seeing how that's going to stack up depth chart-wise?
Well, I started grading in the spring. I graded every play in the spring, and that will carry over into the fall. We will grade every play in the fall, so I know who the consistent backs are. There's a lot that goes into it, right? Health, consistently, and knowing the offense.
You guys had some injuries, a little banged up throughout spring. Overall, how's the health of your group right now?
I feel really good. We finished up strong in the spring. The last 2 weeks was really good. But right now, our guys have paid the price in the summer. They've really done well getting their bodies right. And each guy had their own specific goals that we put together for them, and they've really been working hard to achieve that. But there's a lot of question marks out there for us. We're going to have a chip on our shoulder because of, they're hungry and they want to be able to go out and prove, that this is a room that can be a position of strength on the football team. But we have to go earn it. We can talk about it all day, but until we go out and produce, it doesn't really matter. But I know our guys are ready for fall camp here coming up soon, and then getting ready for the season.
Yeah, with so many weapons and talent, how do they separate themselves? Is it now in the summer? Is it more so in the fall? I mean, how do you kind of maybe start seeing how that's going to stack up depth chart-wise?
Well, I started grading in the spring. I graded every play in the spring, and that will carry over into the fall. We will grade every play in the fall, so I know who the consistent backs are. There's a lot that goes into it, right? Health. Consistently and knowing the offense, and then going out and just being a football player and making plays. So we got to be able to count on a certain number of guys to be able to help us. When I come into work, I got to know who my guys are that are taking the baton and want to be the guys. But we have tremendous competition in the room, which will be awesome for fall camp. And even in the fall, you might find a guy that maybe starts early on, and then a guy keeps getting better, and his role changes. So it's going to be fluid the whole year, but we definitely want to be able to narrow it down and have the guys that we can count on day in and day out.
As first practice and fall camp quickly approaches, how do you tackle with this group with a lot of talent but kind of unknown as to who might be the guy? How do you kind of go about getting this group ready to go?
Just create competition, create different scenarios. I want to be able to see what happens when things don't go their way, whether it's a play, whether they fumble the ball in practice. I want to see how their mental makeup is, because you have to be mentally tough. And you got to be able to be like a relief pitcher in baseball. You give up a home run, you got to be able to throw the next pitch. How do you handle success with all this stuff coming up with name, image, and likeness, and all the social media keep getting more crazy day in and day out? How do you handle that on a day-to-day basis, so you don't get too big for for the cause. And we have to have a room of unselfishness, and we care about each other. But yet there's a friendly competition of, in our room, there's a culture of, okay, a guy does a great job, everybody's happy for this guy, and not, oh man, that guy just made a play, I'm never going to play again, whatever, which can happen in rooms. So I like where our culture is, but culture doesn't stop one day. You have to continually work on it. But we will have competition in our room. I'm excited about it, but nobody's earned anything yet. We got to go out and get on that field and prove that we can be an asset to the team.
They're seniors, they're young, but, chatting with Coach Held there, before we even started rolling, he seems really excited about this group. There's a lot of talent, just kind of hit a little bit by injuries in the spring, but you can tell he's excited about what he's got to work with.
You mean he didn't give you the lead story there and tell you exactly what's going to happen?
Yeah. But that's the message that, multiple coaches have said, is that there's nobody's earned their job yet, right? And that's what you want. You want them to go in and compete and not feel like they're secure and comfortable. They got to go earn, that starting job all over again. And he made it clear there's no, front runner right now. There's no, you got to go earn it, and it starts day one. Well, actually, it's been going on throughout the summer, but which he said his guys have really been taking care of business, but day one, it's going to be a battle. But
it's such a different era for those of us who have been around for a while, or were around a long time ago, when year in and year out, you kind of knew, okay, who's the next guy up? All right, well, it's Roger Craig and it's Mike Rozier, and then it's going to be, Lawrence and Amon, and there was just that one guy that you just really knew, and then there was some depth back there, and who's going to be the fullback?
Yeah.
But now it seems to me that it's not necessarily the guy, but who are the guys.
Yeah.
And even though that room is, 12, 13, that's a pretty big room for running backs. It's probably going to be, who are the three guys that we can rely on in a, I don't want to say platoon, that seems a bit cliche, but those guys are going to come in waves. And it's really going to come down to how well the offensive line performs. No running back is better than the offensive line. And if the offensive line is good, then they're all going to look good, and they're all going to get playing time. But you're not going to have that 25-carry guy that's going to get 130 yards. It's going to be more like the numbers that we saw in the spring, 12 carries, 63, that kind of thing. But there are some question marks, good question marks, like Marquise Stepp. What's the story?
He's healthy.
Yeah.
Said he's looks good, feels good, and throughout the spring, even though he went through a couple of practices before he got shut down, but stayed very engaged, had the script on the sideline, was going through mental reps, said that the way that he handled it is as well as he could, and that, he's back healthy. But again, one thing that he kept saying over and over again, he's got to go earn it. He came here. There's a reason why he came to Nebraska. He wanted to, make a difference and get playing time and help this team win football games. But it's not just going to be given to him. He's got to go out to earn it. And there's some hungry youngsters that are nipping at his heels.
Yeah, and I say question mark, and that seems like it's a bad phrase when you're talking about this. More like mystery men, because Marquise did not play in the spring game and did not play much in the spring. But then there's Gabe Ervin, who shows up on campus in January, does go through spring ball, and had a really good spring game, and I think opened up a lot of eyes.
Yeah, and Coach Held talked about how impressive Gabe Ervin was all spring, just the way that he arrived with kind of a business-like approach. I mean, he came from a high school. They won a lot of games, played on state championships. He won 2 state championships. The stage hasn't been too big for him yet, so the way he's kind of handled it has been very impressive for a freshman. So, yeah, I mean, there's lots to kind of figure out in that room, but I think he's got lots of options. He's got questions, but he's got options at least. So
now I got to ask you about Savion Morrison, because people have known about him for a couple of years now, and then he goes through injury, goes through COVID, doesn't go through spring ball. Another mystery guy, but so much talent. And you knew about him when he was down in Oklahoma in high school.
Yeah, man, he was all over the headlines throughout his high school career as he broke Spencer Tillman's record and smashed it, and wasn't like he broke it by 10 yards or so. It was like over 5,000 yards, and Spencer's was 4,009 yards. So, yeah, he was a big name throughout his high school career. I thought it was interesting. So his jersey is getting retired, or it already got retired at Edison High School. But he was back working out in the spring, and his high school coach they'd done an interview, the local news, with him, and said that Savion, when he was back, said that he wants to be the starter. He wants to be the guy here, and his coach said that Savion was probably at the top of the list of all the guys that he's ever coached, but that when he sets his mind to something, he's putting all his chips in on him. So, again, you got guys that want to be the guy. It's just how are you going to show that on the practice field? But then also on top of that, you still got to come together as a group, like you heard Coach Held talking, and be an asset for this football team.
It seems like in those three, there are three different backs too. Gabe Irvin seemed to be a bit shifty, but had some power to him. Marquis Stepp, people are, saying that he's a little bit more like Dedrick Mills, a little more of a power back, more straight ahead, north-south. Savion Morrison might be a guy that, has good moves and can catch passes out of the backfield, a little more athletic in that regard, more open field. I think the one guy that really got a lot of attention, though, in spring ball, and I went to the spring game, and I sat next to God. That's how high up in the stands I was. And I'm watching Jaquez Yant, and I'm thinking, that guy's a running back? Are they letting this defensive end play running back for the day? Is he a tight end that's back there? I mean, he is just a very large running back who has turned into be somebody that, might be an X factor this year.
Yeah. I mean, again, Coach Held talked about after he got his scholarship, you can't, take a sigh of relief and, take a step back and get in your comfort zone. You got to keep earning it and earn your right to play. You earn the scholarship, but you still have not earned the playing time for the season yet. So you got to get back to work and continue to grind in that way. But, yeah, I think watching – so we got a video that's going to be coming out. I mentioned the podcast, which Coach Held goes into depth about, a few of these guys. But a video will be coming out as well where we kind of show a little bit of the spring practices and workouts, and
cool.
wait till you see
Yeah.
what did Coach Held call him? The Yantinator, I think, lifting some weights. I mean, he's a massive human being.
So what you're saying, and breaking news, is Nebraska's going to the wishbone. We'll have three running backs behind Adrian Martinez, and everybody's going to get a chance to play and carry the ball.
Well, stay tuned for that. But that was fun talking a little football here on this Thursday evening. We're going to take a break, but when we're coming back, we're talking a little Husker volleyball and Team USA, the representation that Nebraska has on the biggest stages. Keep it here on Sports Nightly with Bill Dolman. I'm Jessica Coody.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Experience the highest levels of luxury at Woodhouse Lincoln, the Metro's exclusive Lincoln dealer. Our dedicated sales team is ready to guide you to your perfect vehicle. With a lineup of unique crossovers and SUVs, Lincoln offers insightful technologies, connectivity, and interior amenities, while you experience the highest sales satisfaction among all luxury brands. Visit Woodhouse Lincoln at 144th and Giles Road or online at woodhouselincoln.com.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Still waiting for your stimulus check?
Don't wait for the government. Get the SOS stimulus package right now. For a limited time, get $2,000 off a qualifying York system. York products are all proudly made in the USA. Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company. Get you and the loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
If there's one thing that you can count on every spring, it's that we're going to have to deal with some hail. J-Tech Construction is the company to call to make it right again. J-Tech Construction specializes in siding, roofing, windows, and gutters, even solar. They're trained for insurance claims assistance, and they can help with your insurance company. Turn to the team the Huskers turn to, J-Tech Construction. Use your favorite search engine to find J-Tech Construction online and schedule a free estimate today.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. On May 7th and 8th, Nebraska celebrated its largest May graduating class in university history. 3,594 degrees were awarded to Nebraska graduates in ceremonies at Pinnacle Bank Arena and Memorial Stadium. Along with receiving their diplomas, graduates also heard inspiring speeches from notable Nebraskans, including legendary coach Tom Osborne.
As the official bank of Husker Nation, FNBO invites you to take the game with you with the free Husker Visa debit card. Tied to your checking account, the Husker Visa debit card allows fans to show their Husker pride all year long. Get your free Husker Visa debit card today at any FNBO branch or visit fnbo.com/Huskers. FNBO, the official bank of Husker Nation. Member FDIC.
Welcome back to Sports Nightly on this Thursday evening. Alongside Bill Dolman, I'm Jessica Coody, and Sports Nightly, as always, brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Buckle up and put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. So let's talk some Husker volleyball on the biggest stages, which happens a lot around here, but 3 Huskers on the Olympic team, former Huskers on the Olympic team, and 3 current Huskers on the under 20 team, and no college has that kind of representation.
It's pretty amazing the experience that they're getting before they come to play college volleyball. And the 3 that are representing the United States, Allie Batenhorst, Lindsey Krause, and Lexi Rodriguez, you know, the opportunity that they're going to have, the travel, the camaraderie, all of that with not just themselves but with everybody else is going to be invaluable. But what they can bring back to be prepared to play the season. I'm sure they've already been playing. They've got 12. I mean, the volleyball's a 12-month-a-year sport now, but they're really going to be tuned up once the season begins for Nebraska.
And Allie, the National Gatorade Player of the Year. Again, the time changed because she is already over there in Amsterdam. So we chatted with her earlier in the day. So it was 9:30 then. It was 4 o'clock here. So she was kind enough to join us earlier. Allie, thanks for joining us. You are currently in Amsterdam right now. What time is it there?
It's currently 9:40.
Well, we appreciate you joining us late. I know you got a busy schedule. It was just announced officially yesterday by Team USA that you, along with 2 of your Nebraska teammates, Lindsey Krause and Lexi Rodriguez, would be on the under-20 team for the World Championships up there in the Netherlands. So how special was that? What did it mean to you guys to, first of all, be named a part of the team, but then to get to be a part of the team together?
Oh, yeah, it's super exciting. You know, I mean, we've been training for a while now, and we had tryouts for 5 days, and we were working really hard together, and it just means a lot to be able to travel so far and play for USA with 2 of my best friends. So we're super excited about that.
So you just got done with training camp. You talked about that. What's that like for people that don't know, have never been through it? What is a training camp process like to be able to make a roster like this one?
Yeah, so every day is a tryout, and this one was actually shorter than previous years. So we trained for like about 6 days, and we had 2 sessions a day. So 3 hours in the morning and then 3 hours at night. And I mean, it was tough and long, but it was super fun, and the coaches were great, and all the girls were super fun. So really cool experience, but definitely really hard work.
So you guys have the first match coming up 11:30 a.m. our time here, and it will be streamed live. We'll have all that information for you on the website on Huskers.com. But the under-20 team has never won a medal at the World Championships. How are you guys feeling about maybe being able to go compete for a gold medal?
Yeah, I mean, it would mean everything. You know, we want to make history, and I think we have a really good group of girls here, and we're working really hard, and that would just be insane to be able to accomplish something like that. So we're super excited about that.
So there's 3 Huskers on the Team USA under-20 team. There's 3 Huskers on the Olympic roster, and more players than any collegiate program for both the Olympics and for the under-20 team as well. What does that say about Nebraska volleyball?
It's awesome. I mean, it's amazing to be a part of such an amazing program like that, and just we really want to be the best players we can be, and just having coaches at Nebraska and teammates at Nebraska that are just so amazing. It's really exciting to be a part of something so special.
So you actually were an early enrollee and got here in January and kind of was able to go through and see a little bit of what a season looked like. You traveled with the team. What did you learn? What were some of the things? How beneficial was that for you to be able to get here and kind of learn a little bit earlier than maybe what a normal freshman would be able to?
Yeah, so it was kind of interesting. So I went in, I decided to graduate early, a while before COVID had happened. And so graduating in December, I went in, and it was a whole season that I was getting myself into, and I wasn't really eligible. So it was kind of cool getting to see that from the sidelines and kind of experience what a real season would be like without actually having to worry about the pressures of playing and all of that. So it was a really cool experience just having to be coached and just learning how to play Nebraska volleyball. And I've learned so much from the upperclassmen and just kind of watching them from the sidelines and just the atmosphere during the games. It was obviously different because there were no fans or anything, but it was a super cool experience, and I'm really grateful to have that under my belt going into season.
You do have Nebraska ties, but what was it about? Why did you want to be a Husker?
Just everything about Nebraska volleyball, and I was born in Omaha, and I do have tons of family here, so I've always been a Nebraska fan, and just it's always been in my blood. So I think going through the recruiting process and just kind of learning about all these other schools, I just always felt at home at Nebraska, and obviously Nebraska volleyball, the atmosphere, coaches, everything about it is just amazing. Just the top program, and yeah, I think just education and the sport, just everything worked out really well, and I felt at home at Nebraska. So
you're a part of the #1 recruiting class in the entire nation. Coach Cook called you guys the dream team. For listeners or fans that might be listening, give us a breakdown of this freshman class. How good are you guys?
I mean, they're some of my best friends, and they're just really good athletes. And I think coming into Nebraska this year, it's just going to be unreal being able to play with such amazing players next to me. And we've kind of known each other since about 8th grade, so we've kind of built that bond, and we have that connection on and off the court. So it's going to be really something special to see, and I'm really excited.
What are some of the things you can take away from playing you personally, but then Lindsay and Lexi as well, that you guys could maybe bring into? What can you learn from playing at this elite level at the World Championships that will help prepare you for your freshman season at Nebraska?
Yeah, I mean, we're playing against some of the best athletes in the world for our age group, and I just think it's going to be really high competitive level volleyball, and just playing against so many different players, and they play the game of volleyball in such different ways. I think just that variety and that such high level competition is going to really help us moving into the season this year.
Well, I cannot let you get out of here without, first of all, congratulating you, but then asking you about The Gatorade National Player of the Year. You were surprised with a Zoom call by April Ross. Take us through that moment when you got that announcement, and you could tell the emotion that you felt when she said, "Hey, I'm here to let you know you're the Player of the Year."
Yeah, so I actually had no clue I was getting that award. I went in just thinking it was like an interview for the actual state Gatorade Player of the Year, and so I was obviously super excited, but then April Ross showed up on the screen, and I was like, whoa, like, this is insane. I was like, why is an Olympian talking to me? But, yeah, so she started talking to me about all this stuff, and she eventually brought up that I was National Gatorade Player of the Year. My family walked in, and all my friends with the big trophy, and I was just in awe. Like, I was totally shocked, completely surprised, started tearing up a bit, and it was just a surreal moment. It was just, I'm so grateful.
What does it mean to you to be the National Gatorade Player of the Year, to be the best in the country last year?
Yeah, I mean, it means everything to me. I worked hard, and I've just given it my all these years, and it was just a really perfect way to end my senior year of high school. It was just perfect.
So cool. Congratulations. Last thing for you, just you and this Team USA team, as you kind of get underway coming up tomorrow or Friday, I guess. What's it going to take for you guys to go compete and maybe get up on that medal stand?
It's going to take a lot of work. I mean, we've been working really hard, and I think we're just going to have that chemistry and that edge to bring us above all the other really competitive teams. And there's just some great athletes here, and I think as long as we rise together and work together and kind of just have that great chemistry and energy, I think it should all work out. So we'll see. I'm super excited.
Well, best of luck to you and Lexi and Lindsay. We look forward to watching you guys play for Team USA, but then also can't wait to get you guys back here in Lincoln and watch you play over there at Devaney as well.
Yeah, me too. I'm super excited. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Okay, so for volleyball fans tuning in that want to watch those three freshies play for Team USA tomorrow, Huskers.com, there's a news release that came out earlier today. If you scroll down to the bottom, there's a link that has like the live stream that you can just click on, or you found where you can just find it on YouTube.
Volleyball World.
Volleyball World on YouTube.
Yep, Volleyball World, and there are people already waiting to watch the matches.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the first one against Russia will be at 11:30 a.m. in the morning, and then they'll play Saturday at 8:30 a.m. against Thailand. So you'll be able to check those freshmen out as they battle for Team USA. What's the projections looking like for the Olympic volleyball gold medal situation?
The United States, as I recall, was #1 in the world, which, to be honest with you, is a little bit surprising because there have been some great teams out of Brazil and China and whatnot, but they had a good, what do they call it, FIBA? FIVB, I believe, is the international league for volleyball. So the United States, with somewhat of a shortened schedule, I think, was #1. Only lost once, led by Jordan Larson, who it is remarkable to think that Jordan Larson is now in her mid-30s, because I can remember when she was at Hupper in 8th grade, I think is when she committed to play at Nebraska. They knew that she was going to be pretty good back then. In a tiny town, very small town, Hupper Logan View, played at high school, but now 34 years of age, and I think making her 3rd Olympics. This should be a medal-winning team. To say they'll win the gold, who knows, especially in those quiet atmospheres that they'll be playing in. But I think this is one of the best opportunities for the United States to win a gold medal in volleyball in a long time.
It's hard to believe Allie's, well, she hadn't even started. Well, I guess she's here in the spring, but she's a freshman. Sometimes you never know how freshmen are going to be when you get them sat down for an interview.
Yeah, she sounded very poised, very ready for the moment. But it's interesting. Only in Nebraska would you be talking about the U23 World Championships, and not so much about the 3 that are actually going to be playing in the Olympics in a couple of weeks with
Hopefully we'll
Jordan
keep
Larson,
talking about them, though.
Justin Wong-Arantes and Kelsey Robinson representing Team USA in the Olympics. But it's a big deal around these parts, and she's poised and ready for the moment.
Yeah, Nebraska brought in the #1, #2, #3 recruits in the nation, #1 recruiting class. So we talked about it at the top of the hour. Coach Cook's going to have his hands full with these battles that are going to be taking place leading up to the season.
I think I got a great idea. Sell tickets to practice.
Yeah.
People would show up. I'm telling you, they'd show up.
They're probably not going to face, I mean, many teams that are probably better than the teams they're facing every day in practice.
Oh, without a doubt. And Big Ten volleyball is pretty good. I don't think it's great as maybe the Big 12 was okay too, but certainly Nebraska goes out of its way to have a top flight non-conference schedule, play some top teams, and then you got that opportunity to play Wisconsin and Penn State and Ohio State and those kinds of teams. So they'll be challenged.
All right, we got to take a quick break. We got a couple segments left. Got time to get your texts and calls in. 402-413-2400, the Sports Nightly Hotline, brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family, bringing you more choices in brands, locations, and service. Experience the difference. Purchase with confidence. This is Woodhouse. Back with more after this.
So, when do you think you'll be done with our kitchen renovation?
Well, ma'am, the Italian marble countertops will take a while to get in.
No problem. In the meantime, you can start on the spiral staircase.
What?
If you win Mega Millions from the Nebraska Lottery with a jackpot that starts in the millions in drawings Tuesdays and Fridays, you can afford to go a little mega.
So you want us to build a spiral staircase?
Well, how else are we supposed to get up to the helipad? Oh, good. My husband's home.
Top prize odds 1 in 302 million.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts. When you're prepared for life, you get more out of life. When you're prepared, you spend less time worrying and more time doing the things you love. How prepared are you? When you're ready to find out, Emeritus is ready to help. First, we get to know you. Then we make a plan together, one that lets you enjoy today and prepare for tomorrow. That's what we call fulfilling life. Emeritus, insurance, employee benefits, financial services.
Stadium seats may have been replaced with recliners. Tailgates outside the stadium may have been swapped for the ones in the backyard. And thousands of screaming fans have been replaced by one screaming baby. The only thing that hasn't changed is us, watching the game together.
It's game time, baby.
Show off your Husker team spirit during your next virtual watch party. Visit Cox.com/Huskers to take a selfie with Herbie. And don't forget to share. Watch together, cheer together, take a selfie together, even if you're not actually together. Cox, bringing us closer.
Does it really matter where beef comes from? Meet the facts. Fact: Hy-Vee Choice Reserve beef comes from the Midwest, so you get only the highest quality beef, raised on family farms here in the heartland. Where do the other guys get their beef? We're not sure either. Get the facts at meetthefacts.hyvee.com.
Back to Adventures in Technology. Oh no! Our IT hero is caught in the jagged jaws of ransomware attacks and phishing scams. Help! Wait! It's Marco's Network Security Solutions to the rescue with life-saving ways to detect hungry cybervillains and stop them cold in their tracks. With Marco's Network Security Solutions, our IT hero lives to surf another day. For more successful network security adventures, go to marconet.com.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Because Ford trucks and SUVs are built to help you every day, you made Ford America's best-selling brand. And now you can get great offers on the entire Ford lineup. Come see how at your local Ford store, based on 2019 calendar year total sales. There's a Ford built for everyone, whether it's the latest driver assist technologies, room to fit the whole family, or the power you need on the job site. Ford has you covered. Head to your Midwest Ford dealers today to find great deals on the right vehicle for you.
And welcome back to Sports Nightly, winding down here on hour number 2. Appreciate Patrick Krause texting in, dad of Lindsay. So we got to get the freshman All-Stars names right.
Yep.
So he said, thanks for the interview with Allie and about the U20 World Championship. So incredibly cool. So
Thanks for listening.
Yes.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, so that'll be fun to watch those freshmen and see how they do. Also wanted to remind you, we talked a lot about this yesterday, but the mini pack game tickets for football went on sale yesterday. You can pick 3 games, any 3 games besides Ohio State, and get 3 games and come to a home game in the fall. There's a lot of great teams that are coming to town to come into Lincoln this year, so lots to pick from, and all of them but Ohio State, but the more that they kind of go, the less the limited quality it becomes, or their quantity, limited quantity.
So you'd have Fordham, Buffalo, Northwestern, Michigan, Purdue, and the team from the other side of the river. Should we start playing that game with rivals? You know, that team up north, the team on the other side of the river?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Iowa on November 26th. Not the Ohio State game on November 6th. Pretty good chance you'll be able to watch that somehow, some way, somewhere, anyway. But pick 3 games, $195 for the mini pack. And there was a good response to that when it was announced yesterday, so you might want to get on that.
Yeah, they're going quick.
Yeah, so jump on the games that you want. If you get Buffalo and Fordham and Purdue, you'll still have a great time.
Yeah.
Right.
And full capacity, officially announced as well yesterday. So I know the team's really excited about that. I've chatted with a few of the guys, Cam Jurgens and Adrian Martinez, about the best fans in the country and the best atmosphere, and being able to get back to that. You know, again, because I was in the Big 12 where it was, 30% capacity. So, no fans. It's got to be tough for those guys. And so to be able to get back to full rocking crowds, got to be exciting.
It was still impressive at the spring game, where there were 40,000 people, and I got a kick out of, you see the recruits that came here on their visits or unofficial visits, and they all got their phones out and they're taking pictures of a half-filled Memorial Stadium and thinking, this is incredible, which it was for any spring game anywhere. For Nebraska, it was half, and they were amazed by that. I'm thinking, you ain't seen nothing yet.
And Ryan Hill brought up a good point, too. There's a lot of players that haven't even experienced this place at full capacity, or maybe even red-shirted. And then, so this might be season number 3 and haven't been able to play on the field in front of a full capacity crowd, too.
Yeah, they won't be ready. I mean, they'll be as we've been talking about Devaney Center. They'll be as amazed in Memorial Stadium by the atmosphere and the opportunity that they play in. But, it's just so much better. Even if you're an opponent, to be able to come in, Nebraska fans are incredibly nice and known for applauding for the opponent when it comes to town. But just, people always ask me, what do you think the toughest game on the schedule is going to be? And I think, with all due respect, I think Purdue. Again, if you play on the road or in Champaign on the road, because you're going to get a stadium that has a capacity of 76,000 people or 50,000, and there's 20 there, and there's just no atmosphere. And it just seems to me
hard to get up for.
Very
sometimes.
hard to get up for. Those are the toughest places for an opponent or anybody to play, because there's no atmosphere.
So again, those 3-game mini packs on sale. Call the ticket office or Huskers.com. There's links all over the place that you can get those, but they're going fast. So if you want to come to some games, get on those. It's a great deal. $195. Pick your 3 other than Ohio State. And get this place full again for this football team. Okay, quick break, and then we'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. We talked a lot there in that first segment, so we're cramming things in here at the end. But one final break, and we'll be back to wrap up hour number 2 here on Sports Nightly, brought to you by the Nebraska Department of Transportation. Buckle up and put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Do you want your date to wait for your interlock device to let you drive? Your kids to ask why you have an ankle bracelet? Or your boss to see your criminal history? Do you want to miss important life events because of house arrest? Get a ride. A DUI costs more than you think.
Brought to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Shop Woodhouse Chevy Buick in Missouri Valley, Iowa, and experience the Woodhouse difference, where our sales staff is here ready to help you find your perfect new car, truck, or SUV. And with over 100 new vehicles on our lot with more arriving daily, we're sure to have something for you. From the Buick Encore to our heavy-duty trucks, we have the best selection available. Find new roads and shop all of our inventory and offers at WoodhouseChevy.com or visit us at our dealership for a test drive today, making car buying easier. This is Woodhouse.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm journalism student Grace Fitzgibbon with Campus News. Nebraska is one of the best schools in America for student Fulbright scholars. 2021 marks the 4th time that the university has been named a top producing institution by the Fulbright program. Of the 30 Huskers who applied this past year, 10 were offered the prestigious Fulbright. An additional 16 Huskers were named semifinalists.
Shop Woodhouse Ford first. With 3 convenient locations, we offer a wide selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Our no-pressure sales team is eager to help you find the perfect vehicle. We make it easy to shop, finance, and purchase in person or online at WoodhouseFord.com. Choose your experience and start your car buying journey today at Woodhouse Ford in Blair, Omaha, or Plattsmouth.
Final segment here on Sports Nightly on this Thursday evening. We got another show left, but Bill, we appreciate you filling in this week. And
I'm having a blast.
We should have some big news, sounds like, on a number of sports coming forward that we're going to be able to talk about next week.
Yeah, and I know you're still talking with football coaches, so more previews to come. But before we say good night.
Uh-oh. Okay.
I know this, the big move has been made, and you actually had to pay for your shoes, right? I got that story today. And anybody who's watching on the stream knows that Jessica has, like, all the Husker gear. But now you've got your own.
Awesome.
Very own Husker, a backpack.
Yay!
For classes.
Sweet.
So there you go.
I'm official. Look at that.
I said this was going to be an emotional segment for her, and she was kind of curious as to what we had planned. But
awesome.
But she did. She had to go out and buy her own shoes. And so I went out and bought that myself, or made that in shop class for you, actually. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. So
cool. I'm official now.
Yeah.
I gotta say I have been I'm a shoe head, right, a sneaker head, but I've had a lot of Nikes in the past, but made the switch to Adidas. And if you're watching the live stream, well, I can't show you, but I got some new shoes in actually this morning, and I'm now up to 3 pairs of Adidas.
Holy smokes. Oh, you left that other brand too, didn't you?
Yes.
You left that other brand behind in Oklahoma.
Yep, I did. Long gone.
Okay,
so
well, I didn't need to get my own.
They're cute, but
I didn't need to get a backpack because one of the things that you get for your swag bag from NBC for the Olympics is you get a new backpack every go around. So hopefully I'm in line to get a new backpack in a couple of weeks because I've been carrying this one around since 16.
You get an Olympic backpack. I'll take my Huskers backpack. I am officially part of the team now.
Yeah, nothing is. That's probably the best freebie that you get. When it comes to swag, is you get a good backpack.
Yeah, because those last forever, right? And you can fit a bunch of. Because I've been carrying around my stuff all over the place as I've tried to get settled in. So
you're official.
I'm official. Yeah. Yay! Okay, well, we got. Lots to come, I guess, tomorrow. What do we got coming up tomorrow? What we got on tap for tomorrow?
Didn't we have somebody that's heading to the Olympics representing the
Yes, we got Nuwani. We have a nutritionist that's going with the Olympics. There's going to be lots of representation for
more
the
Olympic talk.
Yep, and we'll see what other news comes about for the next couple of days. But should be some big news coming forward, and then lots of football stuff getting underway next week. So we'll be able to sit down with some players and get them hopefully on the show as well. And we'll see where some of these Husker baseball players go in Major League Baseball.
The draft is coming up. Yep. You're right. Yep.
All right, that will do it for us on this Thursday edition of Sports Nightly. For Bill Dolman, I'm Jessica Coody. We'll talk to you tomorrow here on Sports Nightly from inside Memorial Stadium.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.